Welcome to the No Sugarcoating Podcast. I am Amber Romaniuk, emotional eating, digestive, and hormone expert. I am also the founder of amberapproved.ca. I support professional women achieve optimal health through mindful eating, self-care, and overcoming self-sabotage with food. This podcast provides the honest truth on what you really need to create body freedom. The No Sugarcoating Podcast provides information on healthy living, lifestyle changes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. Always seek the advice of your healthcare practitioner regarding your health and nutrition program. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 215 of the No Sugarcoating Podcast. I can't believe it's Christmas. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, season's greetings to all of you all over the world, no matter where you are. And I really hope you are enjoying this festive season with your friends, your family, your loved ones, making amazing memories, relaxing, taking some time to, de-stress and unwind and really take care of yourself. It's so interesting because I did a poll on Instagram asking about if people wanted me to talk more about ways to prevent holiday weight gain, and I got a lot of yeses on that very quickly. So the first thing I'm going to talk about today is ways to prevent holiday weight gain. And I know we're right into the holiday season right now, but I think this is just perfect timing. And I also want to talk about how overbooked schedules fuel emotional eating and why you're unaware you emotionally eat, because what's so interesting about emotional eating is often in the beginning, we don't even realize we're doing it. And we just think it's normal. And then we're just so busy and our schedules are so busy that we just think that overbooked schedules, emotional eating, poor food choices, and the physical symptoms that we're dealing with in the overwhelm, we start to accept it as normal when it's not normal at all. So I kind of wanted to combine it all together because the overbooked schedule that fuels emotional eating can then contribute to the holiday weight gain, more emotional eating, and then more of the diet mentality in the new year, which we really don't want to. I really want to encourage you not to diet in the new year and instead take a different approach, which is going to help you to gain freedom from emotional eating and, lose the weight in a healthy way. So really excited to share about that with you guys today. Just some key announcements before I get started. Be sure to subscribe to the No Sugarcoating Podcast on your favorite podcast app. You can click the link in the show notes and you can listen again on any podcast app on your phone or on your computer. You can also listen to all episodes at amberapproved.ca/podcast- archive. That's ARCHIVE. The show notes for today's episode can be found at amberapproved.ca/podcast/215. So you can check out all the details from today, including more about marketing partners and other announcements there. Obviously, emotional eating is a big theme for me, and I do have a free emotional eating quiz on my website. So if you are curious or wondering if you are struggling or you're struggling and you want to answer some questions and get a better idea of how much or little you are struggling, go to amberapproved.ca and take the emotional eating quiz. The link will be in the show notes. What I love about this is after you do the quiz, you will get and receive a really great series of information more deeply exploring emotional eating. So I hope you enjoy that. Make sure you also go to amberapproved.ca and subscribe to my weekly newsletter for health tips, more emotional eating awareness, recipes, exciting announcements, coaching sales, etc. It's a great place to just get little tidbits of information every week, especially if you like the podcast. So I've wrapped up my coaching for the year with my clients, and when I was on a call last week, and this is a lovely woman who I've been working with for about 2 months now, and I wanted to just share what she said to me because it was just so touching, and it was just such a great gift to receive from her. And she said, I wanted to let you know that I'm so grateful that I found you, and I'm so grateful that I know you and that you're helping me, and I'm so grateful that I chose to, invest in the support because it's been significant. And just what I felt from her and the emotion and the energy of it and the sincerity of, what she shared. And I felt so grateful, and it almost makes me a bit emotional right now because, in those 4 sessions, the transformation she's already experienced is amazing. And this is a wonderful woman who's, struggled with emotional eating and, fighting with her weight for over 40 years. And all of a sudden that is starting to shift significantly. So again, it's just more proof that, first of all, I'm just so grateful and thankful for the clients that do come and work with me. And second, it's just such proof that the diet mentality and staying in that old limiting mentality does not work. And it can be with us for decades. Also, though, you can always choose to take a different approach that's going to give you the deep transformation and results and joy and happiness and peace that you seek for yourself. So definitely make sure, if this resonates with you, to reach out so you can book your own 30-minute complimentary body freedom call and we can connect to talk more about your health goals and concerns. So if you're finding a specific eating style isn't working for you, you're struggling with emotional eating, food addiction, the diet addiction, digestive issues, inflammation, perhaps you suspect your hormones are off, self-care continues to be a problem, a struggle, you're fighting with your weight, you're fighting with your body, you're putting yourself last, you're overwhelmed and you just have no idea where to start, well, you are in the right place, my friends. So welcome to all of you. Thank you for listening. I'm going to continue to dive into the habits and mindsets to help set you on a different path. So here we go. Ways to prevent holiday weight gain. Amber Approved offers private coaching for hormonal imbalances, weight loss and digestive issues, emotional eating, and more. Contact Amber at amberapproved.ca to book your 30-minute complimentary consultation today. This is definitely a thing. And I know for a lot of my clients, if they're just starting to work with me, the holiday season can be a really vulnerable time. And there's a lot of fear and worry around losing control with food, overeating, overindulging, and then, of course, gaining weight. And that can feel really uncomfortable if you already are feeling insecure within your body. And that can then make you dread, going to your New Year's outing or, wearing certain clothes, or then maybe certain clothes don't fit in the new year. And then you feel this pressure to get that gym membership or go on that diet and try a restrictive eating style because your friends, your coworkers, your family members are doing it. And it's like, let's hop on the bandwagon. But one of the biggest breakdowns with that, one of the biggest problems is that we're not tuning in to see what we actually need to meet our own health needs, our own mental, physical, emotional health needs, and spiritual, if you believe in that. And that most of the bandwagon diet approach is probably not what you need. Maybe the gym membership will be helpful, but again, if you're using the gym as a means to control calories and burning calories and you're binging or emotionally eating and then you go to the gym to compensate, or you're just convinced that the only way I can lose weight is if I go to the gym, then those are limiting mindsets. I'm much more of a believer in mindful movement and doing movement that makes you feel good, not movement you hate and dread, but feel like you have to do because otherwise you won't lose weight. If that's what's going on for you, there's negative and limiting beliefs to work through to get you to this point of peace. I know that may be a little bit off topic, but that's all relative to what is, this holiday weight gain that can happen for people. Like, have you noticed your clothes already fit a bit tighter? Maybe you've already been to multiple parties and celebrations in December. Maybe it started in November for you, because I know for some people it's like Halloween's over and then it's like holiday party season and, work Christmas party season and things like that. So, this is something that can carry on for a couple of months for people, and it can really start to get overwhelming to go through all the food and drink and the stress. So I want to talk first about some of the things that could be contributing to holiday weight gain. And then I'll talk about, how we can, manage some of these contributors and get them out of the way, in hopes that it is going to help you have, more success navigating your holiday season. So the overbooked schedule, and that's why the second, topic that I really want to focus on with this podcast is about overbooked schedules, because when you have an overbooked schedule, this fuels many things physically and emotionally. So this fuels a lot of stress, overwhelm, feeling frazzled, frustrated, angry, sad, just in a low mood. The energy just may feel really heavy. It's like, when is this going to stop? Maybe this year has felt heavy for you and overwhelming, and maybe it was not a year you expected. So when we have an overbooked schedule, but we don't address the schedule and we don't start to understand that having too much on your plate all the time is going to eventually pile up and have a negative impact on your physical and emotional health. And it's also a massive emotional eating trigger. Like, most of my clients who struggle with emotional eating, time and time again, one of their triggers on their list, when we start working together, we get into the emotional eating right away. But one of those first triggers is always stress and overbooked schedules, and overwhelm is usually a part of that. So it's to really start to look at, even right now, as you go into Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Do you have downtime for yourself? Because if we're just going and committing to a bazillion things and you feel like you have to bake cookies for everyone and their dog and like do all this stuff for everyone else, but then you're sacrificing your own like health and well-being and your own, emotional, mental health, and like then you're feeling overwhelmed and that's triggering you to emotionally eat. Like emotional eating is just such an easy way to put on holiday weight because people start to do it and then they get into this all or nothing mindset and go, well, screw it. I'm just going to might as well just wait till the new year now because I've already messed up. I've already screwed up. So then we go from this all in, I'm going to do my best to eat mindfully or stay on my diet to, oh, well, I've already messed up. So might as well wait until January 1st or January 6th to get into my diet because, I've already messed up. And it's that's still 2 weeks away almost, a week and a half, 2 weeks away. Why would you want to then suffer and feel horrible and have bloating and pain and fatigue and brain fog and just not feel well for that long when you could go, you know what? My schedule's overbooked. I'm actually going to cancel a couple of things, take a couple commitments off my plate, ask for help, delegate, say no, so that I can have some time to take care of myself, to deal with this overwhelm, to get calm, do some meditation, breathing, get out for a walk, sit around your Christmas tree and put on some Christmas music or music that you like and pull out your journal and write about your feelings. I think it's so important that we dedicate this time because if we do not, it will creep up on you and you will feel so much chaos. And then eventually the chaos happens and your overbooked schedule is just leading you and it's making you miserable. And we don't want that to happen. So I think it's so important to look at your schedule and especially even looking into the new year and starting to block off white space because it's a huge trigger for emotional eating and a huge trigger for holiday weight gain. It's, overbooked schedules don't only potentially fuel emotional eating, but I think that, they can fuel hormone imbalances, digestive imbalances because of the stress. It can make you, again, feel more negative, and that can fuel emotional eating. So I think that there's many things that an overbooked schedule can do to your physical and emotional health. In general, though, another thing that may contribute to holiday weight gain is hormone imbalances. So if you have hormone imbalances that you are not aware of, for say high or low cortisol, high inflammatory markers, underactive thyroid, which I see so much. But if you have hormone imbalances like this, and you find that you're the kind of person that it's you swear you look at a brownie and you start to gain weight, and if you eat one brownie, you feel retention puffy, it just seems like it doesn't take much for you to feel a change in your body with weight, then that to me could be a sign of significant hormone imbalances. That could be a sign of inflammation. Sluggish lymphatic systems will retain more water, food sensitivity. So I think it's important to know, in the long term, between this Christmas and next Christmas, if you're really wanting to see very extensive change and profound change with the way you navigate the holiday season with your schedule and food and not see any weight gain happen, addressing your schedule, dealing with emotional eating, investigating your hormones and getting support with those, and addressing things like digestive issues and inflammation are so important. So important. Also, if you have cravings, getting support to get those cravings eliminated. Because what's so powerful is, every client is different, but I find with most of my clients, by the time we've been working together for at least half of a term, their cravings are pretty much gone or they're almost gone. And then once we, go through certain protocols, they no longer have any cravings unless there's a certain stressor that comes up, and then they know it's stress related and they can actually deal with the stressor. So when we can get the cravings down, that also minimizes your want to overeat and to try to fulfill the craving, and then that prevents the holiday weight gain. So dealing with hormones and dealing with investigating, any digestive issues like bloating, pain, gas, inflammation, food sensitivities. These are all really preventative steps to take so that, for future holidays or celebrations or any indulgence, you prevent gaining any weight at all. Water retention is another one. So I often find for people who have a lot of water retention, again, inflammation, stress, gut imbalances, hormone imbalances. Also, this can be a sign of a sluggish lymphatic system. So for me, one thing that I notice that can fluctuate easily, even still for me, is water retention. So when I'm eating, my mindful nourishment and I get enough sleep and I'm hydrated, I find I have minimal to no retention. But if I have, a few days or a week where I don't sleep well, or for some reason I eat more salt, or I have some mindful indulgence, like in the past, I would just notice I retain a lot of water. And so then you've heard me probably talk a little bit about how I did some work to investigate, why this may be, and that my lymphatic system was really sluggish. And so since May, I've been in a very dedicated lymphatic routine, which I actually love now, and I don't think I'll ever stop, where I dry skin brush and I do hot and cold showers like every day or every other day, and I have a trampoline and I rebound. But I've noticed a significant drop in water retention by incorporating those things, and of course doing some other work as well with my system, my liver and things. But if I have now like salt or I indulge or anything, it's like there's no noticeable retention. I may notice like my ring just fits a little bit different on my finger, but it goes away within a few hours after the indulgence or the salt, or like the following day after I have a good sleep, it just goes away. So that's very significant. Whereas before I just felt like retention all the time. And when I look back at pictures when I was like 18, 19, 20, my face just looked so swollen all the time. And I think it's because back then I didn't care what I ate at all. I had no idea how to manage stress or any awareness about my body. So I can just imagine how much more sluggish my lymphatic system was. That's when I started to have digestive issues and bloating and pain. So I can just imagine just the state of stress that my body was in. And then again, why my face just looked so puffy and inflamed, and why I retained so much water. So it's just been interesting to see, because a lot of people, maybe your clothes start to fit tighter and you assume it's weight, but it's actually more water retention and inflammation due to digestive or lymphatic stuckness or imbalances. And so that's why I think it's so important as well that, say you indulge over a couple of days and you feel that water retention, like don't necessarily jump to conclusions that it's weight gain. It's like maybe your body's just not used to this much indulgence. And so it's just going to take a few days to see that calm down and get it out of your body, right? So, it doesn't necessarily mean we're gaining weight when it could just be some retention. Stress, of course, is a big contributor to weight gain at any point, but especially through the holidays. So it's so important to manage our stress. And as I mentioned earlier, the overbooked schedule plays a huge role in that. So I definitely want to, encourage you guys to have some form of a, self-care routine through the holiday season so that you can support, your mindset, your stress, mindful eating, making better food choices, getting enough sleep, drinking more water. And I think mindset plays a huge role. So, how are you going into the holidays? Are you going into the holidays like, I don't care what I eat, I'll deal with it in the new year? Or is it like, I'm not going to eat any of that stuff for fear of losing control? Or are you somewhere in the middle where it's like, yeah, I'm going to enjoy some of this, and I'm also going to make sure that I eat, good food, nourishing food as well, because I want to feel good through the holidays. And I find a lot of people are either in the, I'm going to just stay on my diet for fear of losing control, or, oh my gosh, I'm just going to eat whatever I want and deal with it in the new year. It's very rare that there's the balance in the middle, but as you build a healthy relationship with food and your body, you can have that balance in the middle. I had another client that I wrapped up with, and she, said, this year, like, it works. Doing this work that she's been doing with me, she just like, it works. I can mindfully indulge and enjoy myself, and my body feels good with it. But I don't need to continue. I don't need to punish myself. I don't need to feel guilty, and nothing bad happens to my body if I'm mindful and have, some of it versus all of it. And that's just such a profound shift from last year when there was like fear and worry around going into the holiday season and questioning if she should indulge or not. So it's a confidence that really comes in, and that confidence will lead you through mindful eating and enjoying some mindful indulgence, but also respecting your body. And when you get to the point where you have a deep respect for your body and food, you do not gain weight through the holiday season, because you don't want to feel like garbage and so bloated and uncomfortable that you can't enjoy yourself. And B, your limits. It's like, oh, this is really good. Eat it really slowly, pick the best quality. Well, I'm going to have, some of this, you eat it, enjoy it. And then it's like, great, that was really satisfying. Now I can move on. But when we have all the stress, the overbooked schedules, the hormone imbalances, the cravings, the emotional eating, low self-worth, this like dictator ego in your mind going, you shouldn't eat that, or, oh, screw it, just eat as much as you want and deal with it in the new year. Like, it's those limiting mindsets or the perfectionism, the all or nothing, that will probably fuel self-sabotage and way overdoing it. And I know that used to be the way for me. For the first 20 years of my life, I did not care. I ate what I wanted and however much I wanted. And every year I always gained weight through the holiday season. Once I got really restrictive, because that was 10 years ago, 10 Christmases ago when I had my first Christmas where I had lost all the weight and then I gained all the weight back and was at my heaviest. And it was around this time of year that I, lived in my apartment and I had a little Christmas party, and I was just so embarrassed about my body. I wore this big baggy t-shirt, and we made gingerbread cookies. I remember a couple of friends and we baked gingerbread cookies, and I brought a bunch home with me, and then I served some at the party. But I swear, I just binged and ate so many cookies, and I took the rest with me when I drove to go home to see my family for Christmas. And I just binged on cookies the whole way home. And it was really bad that year. I really felt so much guilt and hurt and sadness and hopelessness about my body and my weight, and that I had no control with food. And that's where I was 10 years ago. And you fast forward 10 years and here I am, sharing a podcast about it and coaching, people all over the world who are struggling with this to gain the same freedom that I did. And I'm actually going to record a podcast reflecting upon the past decade and where I am now. And it's going to actually be a very interactive podcast. And I want you to bring a pen and paper and a journal. So that will be episode 217, because I want you to kind of map out where you were and where you are now. And if you're happy with it, with your health and relationship with food and where you want to be. And if not, then what needs to change for you. So I think that'll be really insightful and a great way to start the new year. So it's profound to see the shift within myself, in the odd occasion where I do overeat, because it's just I thought I was, I'm I'm really hungry, so I need a lot. And then I eat it, and then my leptin catches up, and I'm I ate too much. It's so uncomfortable. And that's just some innocent overeating. I can't imagine now to forcefully eat 24 gingerbread cookies in one day and all sorts of other stuff. It shocks me now to think about where I was and how full I felt all the time and how uncomfortable it was versus now I don't like it. It's very uncomfortable, and it's something that rarely happens. But of course, as you hear me talk about every year, I will be enjoying my gluten pierogies on Christmas Eve because it is a Ukrainian tradition and they are homemade. But of course, I don't eat 20 of them. I have, 4 or 5, and it's a mindful thing. And there's pierogies are not just available Christmas Eve. We have the best gluten-free pierogies here. And they're from an Alberta company called Stella's Pierogies. Stella's giving you a plug. And they're gluten-free. They have dairy-free as well. Soy-free, corn-free, free of the top allergens as a side because their son has a lot of allergies. So if you're in Alberta, I'm not sure where outside of Alberta if they carry them, but most grocery stores and health food stores will have them in the freezer section if you're looking for freaking amazing gluten-free pierogies, because we have them all the time at home. But it's profound, the shift that can happen for people in a year, in 10 years, whatever it is. So I think it's so important, to bring all of this in to perspective and your awareness field. So if you are so tired of holiday weight gain and you're so tired of failing on your diet and you're so tired of just continuing to fight with your body, I would really encourage you to stop doing all the same things and getting the same results and driving yourself crazy, and actually really take deep consideration to take a different approach that includes none of that and includes the freedom and ending the fight with yourself. The No Sugarcoating podcast is proud to partner with Organic Traditions. Organic Traditions has a range of plant-based instant lattes made with organic, gluten-free superfoods. All of the lattes are made with a coconut milk powder base, so all you need to do is add hot or cold water for an instant creamy latte. This holiday season, they've introduced 2 limited edition holiday-inspired lattes, Holiday Spice and Mint Chocolate. Sip your way to and through the holidays with these festive superfood lattes. These lattes are also versatile. Add them to your energy balls, chia pudding, overnight oats, and raw desserts for even more holiday-inspired superfood treats. You can visit www.organictraditions.com and use the coupon code amberapproved to save 20% on your order. So let's talk about some more specific ways to prevent holiday weight gain. So obviously, if you feel like you have digestive issues or hormone imbalances, get those things investigated. Those are things I help my clients with every day. And it is some days I'm shocked at the results that they get. I know my worth and I know my value, and what I bring to my clients, but miracles happen. I had one client and she had pain in her hands for years, and we've just finished balancing her digestion and it's gone. And that's not even something that she first came to me for. But because of all the other work we've done on overcoming emotional eating, managing stress, balancing digestion and hormones, like these are the other miracles that are happening. This is like years of suffering, right? So oftentimes we need that different approach. So stay hydrated. Take water with you everywhere you go. Infuse it. There's some cranberries, some cucumbers, some mint, lemon, lime. If you're having a carbonated drink, I love the Zevias, or you could do like a club soda that's naturally flavored. But, make sure you have a good water or a tea or a carbonated beverage that you love and take it with you everywhere. I know when my boyfriend and I go to Barhead, like we always take some Zevia Pop because he likes to have a drink of whiskey with that and he doesn't want all the sugar anymore. So it's just even cool to see the little changes within him that he's so happy with that have helped his own health and well-being. I think it's also important, like I mentioned last week, do not fast before you go to your holiday dinner. Eat regularly through the day, have your meals and snacks, and then when you get there, leave like a quarter of your plate for the indulgent items and otherwise fill your plate up with like the protein, the vegetables, like the healthier options, but you're still allowing yourself to have some of that indulgence. Engage in good conversation with the people around you. Don't hover around where all the food is because you're just more apt to pick at it. Before you go to your holiday party or your Christmas dinner, like ask yourself, am I feeling vulnerable to food? Am I feeling triggered? And maybe then you want to like talk to someone at the party or the dinner and go, hey, you know what? Can you be like my accountability buddy and just like help me navigate the evening? Like you could try something like that as well. If people are pressuring you to eat certain foods and that, has you fearing gaining weight through the holidays, it's like set boundaries with them and say, thank you. I really appreciate you wanting me to eat more of that, but I'm actually full or actually don't want that, but it looks really good. I'm sure it's delicious or it was delicious. I'm just full. Thank you so much. Right? Like we can be kind about it. We don't have to be rude or disrespectful. Eat slowly, chew your food, chew mindfully, right? I think it's so important that we slow down and really enjoy the indulgence because then you're more satisfied and then you'll gauge your fullness level and you'll know when to stop versus when we eat so quickly and we inhale it with guilt and worry, then we're far more likely to overeat even more, but then to just feel so much more uncomfortable and then the guilt just kicks in more. If you are going to indulge, choose the best quality chocolate. Like I love the Nuco Naturals chocolate, the Brocco Choco, the Himalayan salt one. And I know I had, talked about them a lot in November and into December because I absolutely love their products. But their Brocco Choco chocolate is, I swear to you, the best chocolate I've ever had. And I love Himalayan salt in dark chocolate. And so for me, I have a bar of it sitting in the cupboard and it is specifically for Christmas Eve because I don't really care for all the milk. Chocolate is just too sweet. So that's like, I got my bar of Nuco Naturals chocolate. You can go to nuconaturals.ca. If you want to buy it, they ship worldwide. So nuconatural.ca. But like seriously, best chocolate I've ever had. And it's made actually locally here in Calgary, close to where I live. So it's also great to support local businesses too. But right, so pick the best quality, right? Like if you're into wine, like pick the best quality wines and enjoy, mindful amount of it. If your thing is baked goods, we'll find like the best quality baked good recipe. And if you're looking for holiday recipes, I have loads of recipes on my website at amberapproved.ca. Everything from gingerbread loaf to gingerbread cake, gingerbread cookies, shortbread cookies. The peppermint chocolate loaf with the peppermint coconut icing is divine. I'm going to be making that this weekend. So if you're looking not only for like recipes just with better ingredients, but also if you have food allergies or sensitivities, that's also a great reason to again look at alternatives for your recipes. So I think, pick quality over quantity. Honestly, you will be more satisfied. Like I made my gingerbread loaf this weekend and had a piece, and it's all whole foods and it's so filling. Like if I wanted to, I couldn't have had a second piece because the pumpkin and the olive oil and the eggs and all the spices and the flour and like it's all gluten and dairy free and everything, but it's whole foods, and whole foods fill us up and satisfy us more than all the refined empty calorie foods. So I think it's also important to not commit to full restriction through the holidays because then you may, come the end of the year like end of December, be like, oh, I missed out, and then go and binge on all the stuff that you didn't allow yourself to have. At the same token, I think it's important that we don't wait until the new year to fix it. Don't wait until the new year to then hop on a restrictive diet. And, not that I want to say you're going to fail, but a lot of people fail on the diet and then they just try another one and it drives them crazy and nothing works. And then it really takes a hit on your confidence. So, what if you took a different approach in the new year? What if this is the year you didn't diet, you didn't just try a restrictive eating style, and you actually dealt with the emotional piece? You actually, thoroughly worked on and supported your hormones and digestion. You managed your schedule. You built your self-worth. What if 2020 is the year that you actually do that? Instead of dieting and restriction, more of the same, creating more frustration, right? So take a different approach. I think it's important that we make sure we have lots of protein, fat, and healthy carbs to help keep our blood sugar balanced, hence eating regularly through the day and, opting for lots of protein and veggies on your plate when you have your holiday dinner. Like if you're thinking and you're wanting an example, like for me, I made Christmas dinner twice. Last week, Saturday, for my boyfriend's side of the family. And on the plate, I have loads of turkey, got this fabulous gluten-free stuffing. So I've got a little bit of that. I make a homemade flatbread, which the recipe's on my website. So I have a piece of that. And then I'm loaded up with I always make peas and carrots. It's just like a nostalgic childhood thing. A gluten-free gravy, and then mashed potatoes with High Vibe Health bone broth. For all the people who are in Calgary, you need High Vibe Health bone broth. It is freaking amazing. I mash it into the potatoes and it makes it so creamy and it's good for your gut health. So, and then some cranberry sauce. We use organic. There's still cane sugar in it, but I'm not worried about it. So it's that's kind of what's for dinner. So I load up half my plates, or 3/4 is turkey, mashed potatoes, peas, carrots. And then I have quarter of the plate with the stuffing and the bread and my cranberry sauce. And then I put gravy on pretty much everything because I love a good gluten-free turkey gravy that I make. But it's good whole foods. And I'm not filling my plate so the gravy's spilling off the side. I'm putting a mindful amount on my plate. I eat it because then it's if I do actually feel hungry, I can go back and have a bit more. It's not feeling the need to restrict. Oh, I have to count calories. Oh, I have to watch what I'm eating. It's getting to this place where you have the confidence and the courage to know what feels good for you and not overdo it. One of the problems though for a lot of people is they have no idea, they have no awareness. So it's really difficult for them to, understand how much is enough and how much is too much. And so that's where I think awareness is so important. And, that's going to bring me to my third point of why you're unaware that you emotionally eat. Because a lot of people just have no idea. And I didn't in the beginning when I was doing it either. So I also suggest, I've mentioned this earlier, but hydration as well. I think it's important to, add in blood sugar balancing things. So that's where protein, fat, and healthy carbs are important. Cinnamon's great for balancing blood sugar as well. So I always add a teaspoon of cinnamon into my smoothie in the morning. I've been on a smoothie kick for the last couple of weeks for breakfast, and it's been awesome. I haven't been able to eat smoothies for years for breakfast. So it's kind of nice to add something like that back in. But cinnamon is great. And of course, your healthy fats and proteins break down more slowly, and good complex starchy carbs like your sweet potatoes. I love potatoes too, but I always add fat to my potatoes because it helps break the sugars down more slowly, and same with fruits. And then take a break between your dinner and your dessert and let your food settle, because if you eat dessert right away, you're just far more likely to feel uncomfortable and have digestive upset and get bloating and gas and just really not feel well. So take some time between, and again, engage with your family. And if this is a serious problem for you and you try these things and you're just none of this is working, I think that's when we get to the point where sometimes we do need to reach out for support and get help to build the healthy relationship with food in our bodies and investigate any of the other underlying physical imbalances that may also be going on and correct those, because you should be able to navigate the holidays mindfully, enjoy yourself, not feel horrible, and get into the new year feeling refreshed and not needing to go on a diet, and just continue to commit to consistently taking care of yourself. The No Sugarcoating podcast is proud to partner with Rocky Mountain Soap Company, a Canadian company that believes the earth provides more than enough natural ingredients to give us beautiful and healthy skin for life, so you can shop with the freedom of knowing that everything they make is safe and good for you, your family, and the environment. Shop natural at one of their 13 retail locations across Canada or online worldwide at www.rockymountainsoap.com. So that brings me to my second point, which really going into the overbooked schedules fueling emotional eating. So as I mentioned earlier, a lot of my clients have an overbooked schedule when we start working together, and it's fueling emotional eating. It's having a negative impact on their digestion. It's giving them cravings. It's impacting their hormones. They're gaining weight. They're overwhelmed. They're, not happy, but yet they don't understand that the overbooked schedule is a huge part of this. But what's below the overbooked schedule is this need to prove or be perfect or people please or say yes to everyone else or have so much on your plate to try and make yourself look like you're good enough and worthy, when it's usually what's below that is not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy. And that all has an impact on your self-worth, which then impacts the way you create your schedule and book your schedule and pack your schedule too full, which then impacts your physical, emotional health and the behavior you have with food, your body, and the way you interact with the world. So this is significant. I used to overbook my schedule when I was really insecure within myself because I thought, oh, look at my schedule. It's so booked. I'm so important. This makes me good enough, right? Like unbooked schedule, that must mean I'm not popular and not good enough and people don't like me, when that has nothing to do with it. I think overbooked schedules are making people sick, to be honest. The perfectionists, the all or nothing, those mindsets are very, detrimental to our health and well-being. And when people realize what an impact they're having in a negative way and they start to make changes and feel better, it builds confidence, it builds empowerment. People don't want to emotionally eat. You have better energy, you sleep better. You want to take better care of yourself because you start to reap the benefits of that. But what's so interesting is when your schedule is overbooked, you're often very distracted by all the busyness going on, whether it's work, personal, family, social, travel, whatever it is, or it could be all of the above. What ends up happening, though, is there's a couple scenarios here. Some people purposefully overbook their schedules to distract them so that they don't have any time to deal with their stuff, their emotions, take responsibility and ownership for their baggage, for their traumas, past experiences, that upset them and or deal with emotional eating and things like that. Some people have no idea that they're overbooking their schedule because they want to be distracted and not deal with their stuff. So you may be one or the other on that spectrum. Some people overbook their schedule because they want to prove that they're good enough, and that by being so busy and having a certain level of success, money, social commitments, that defines their self-worth, when really they still feel empty and broken or insecure or unhappy inside. And now, the overbooked schedule is starting to have an impact on their health. And you may be, noticing you have low energy or you're having trouble sleeping, you're retaining more water, you're emotionally eating. And remember, emotional eating is any reason for eating other than physical nourishment. Boredom, happiness, sadness, multitasking and eating, driving and eating, watching TV and eating is a huge trigger for my clients. It used to be for me too. There's many things that can trigger emotional eating, but it is any reason for eating other than physical nourishment. So that's something to hopefully help you start to build awareness, because a lot of people think that emotional eating is a person sitting on the couch eating 3 bags of chips, watching TV. And for some people that is emotional eating. That used to be me, in fact, in some scenarios. But emotional eating can mean you're eating half of a chocolate bar or having 4, mouthfuls of ice cream to deal with stress. That's emotional eating. It doesn't have to necessarily be mass quantities. For some people, it's minor quantities. Some people, it's moderate quantities. And some people, it is massive. And for me, it was massive. So I know what it feels like to be on that extreme end of the spectrum. But it's important to understand that the overbooked schedule can have a significant impact. And it's the self-worth and the lack of self-worth that is then having you overbook your schedule. Also, a lot of people don't feel worthy to take time for themselves. A lot of people don't feel worthy to have freedom from emotional eating or have happiness. They feel like, oh, I'm indebted to this, what happened in the past, and so I deserve to suffer, I deserve to struggle, when that is not the case at all. I don't think anyone deserves to suffer or struggle. I believe that everyone has the opportunity to overcome their obstacles and take responsibility and ownership for their stuff and gain the freedom of, from emotional eating and gain body freedom and optimal health But it does take a different approach, and it does take you starting to build a deeper level of awareness and starting to pay attention to things like this. Of course, in the podcast, I can plant seeds, I can explain things, and I can help you to build understanding and some awareness. But if you are so ready to build deep awareness and really know how to listen to your body and know what to give your body, whether it's food, sleep, hormone support, digestive support, how to overcome emotional eating, if you want to fine tune your body awareness and be deeply in tune, that's when I would really suggest the private coaching, because I can walk you through every step of that. And I teach that to all of my clients, and they're just so in tune. And of course, I pride myself in that because I've spent the last 10 years becoming in tune and aware of my body. And I know now, I can tell if my thyroid's slightly off, or my liver, or my adrenals. I know exactly what those things feel like. I can feel my gut feelings when something doesn't feel right. And I never used to have any of that. And it's such a gift to be able to recognize those things and then make changes if something doesn't feel good, whether it's physical or emotional. So you get to gain that deep level of awareness, when you take the time and go on that journey. You also start to be able to build awareness around looking at your schedule and knowing when it feels like it's too booked, and then to make changes, and when it feels good for you, when it's in alignment, when there's not too much on your plate. So, building that awareness and in-tuneness really helps you when it comes to your schedule, your commitments as well, which I think is so, so powerful. But if your schedule is always overbooked, you're probably not necessarily aware that you're emotionally eating, and you may be emotionally eating or mindlessly eating all the time. If you're never sitting at the kitchen table to eat your food, if you're always working and eating and on the run and things like that, and you're not aware of your emotions, you're not aware of any of your body cues. So an example would be, you eat chocolate cake and then you get bloated, but because you're so busy and not aware, you don't even realize the difference between being bloated and not bloated, and what foods make you bloated and what foods make you unbloat or get rid of the bloat, right? But as you start to build awareness and you start to overcome emotional eating and become present with food, you will know that if something doesn't feel good for your body and what feels amazing for your body. So that's another piece of awareness that you get to start to build when you slow down your schedule and you slow down to eat mindfully. I also think that, a lot of people have their overbooked schedules and they just think it's normal. It's so, especially in North America, it's the society norm. It's oh, how are you? Oh, I'm super busy. How are you? And it's why is that the predominant answer that I hear all the time, instead of, oh, I'm really good, or, oh, I'm having a day, or whatever. And it's I feel we define our self-worth in our busyness sometimes, when, self-worth has nothing to do with our schedule and how booked we are. It's got everything to do with how we feel about ourselves inside, emotionally, physically, our outlook on life. So, I just think it's unfortunately become a society norm and accepted, and almost oh, you're in this higher end of this hierarchy if you're so busy all the time, which again, I think the hustle has a negative impact on our health. And I even recorded a podcast about that. So if you are interested in listening to that, it's episode 190, how the hustle is negatively impacting your health. Again, that's episode 190. I really don't think the hustle or hustling or overbooking schedules help with our health. They usually make them decline over time. The No Sugarcoating podcast is proud to partner with Cheryl Ramsey of Eden Wholistic, who is an advanced certified body talk practitioner and Helio Soul technique instructor. It is her privilege and honor to offer individuals the opportunity to go deep within themselves to heal what is creating blockages and stopping people from living the life they are meant to live. Working with Cheryl can be the start of an incredible journey to health and well-being. Body Talk is an alternative health modality which can focus on the subconscious mind, where dysfunctional beliefs, thoughts, and emotions are held. Cheryl gently facilitates the release of those limiting beliefs, thoughts, and emotions, which allows for a deep healing at the body-mind levels. This can also allow the individual to manifest what they truly want out of life. I've personally seen Cheryl for Body Talk for the last few years, and it's been a very imperative and transformational part of the inner journey that I've had with myself. And you can read more and check out more about Cheryl and Eden Wholistic at www.edenholistic.com. That's EDENWHOLISTIC.com. And so this brings me to my last point of why you're unaware that you emotionally eat. So as I mentioned already, usually people are overbooked. They're too busy and they're so consumed with the busyness. They keep adding more to their plate and they don't realize how poorly they're feeling. They don't realize they're having trouble sleeping, that they're tired all the time. They have brain fog. Their memory doesn't work properly. They don't realize they're always bloated. They don't realize that they're snacking mindlessly all the time or emotionally eating and that it's becoming a problem. They don't realize the significant impact that this behavior is having on their confidence, that you're insecure, that you're feeling really unworthy, that you're not dating, that you're not reaching for the dream job or dream career, starting your own business, or your business is suffering because you're not taking care of yourself. And if you don't take care of yourself, how are you supposed to take care of your business? It doesn't really work. So when we're too busy, it's hard to build any awareness, to learn how to listen to our body, to understand why we're emotionally eating, to understand why we're feeling so negative, to understand why, your relationships aren't working, why your business isn't working, why you're not getting the promotion, why you're attracting more debt, right? Like, you're not taking the time to even realize that could all be connected, because it usually is. You're also unaware of emotional eating because you're not aware of your body. This should be taught in school, how to listen to your body, how to understand your body's cues. How's your energy today? How was your sleep last night? Are you getting your 2 liters plus water a day? How's your digestion feeling? Like, these are questions I ask my clients all the time, because as we monitor it closely, they start to pay attention. Then they're asking themselves the questions between our sessions. And then they come to the session, and when I ask them, they're like, oh, I notice this. When I get my 2 liters of water a day, my energy and mental clarity are better. When I take time to slow down and eat mindfully, my digestion doesn't get bloated. My stomach doesn't get bloated, right? And some of these people have had digestive issues for years, and they've seen all sorts of different doctors and healthcare practitioners, and no one's been able to help them. And then in 3 months here with me, all of a sudden they're like, wow, my digestion feels amazing. Like, that's significant, but that's someone taking the time to step back and learn how to listen to their body. Not just adding on like 50 supplements or just doing a ton of testing. Like, yes, sometimes supplementation and testing are needed, but usually we have to look at the behavior, the mindset, the schedule, and the way someone is navigating all of those things, because I guarantee you that it's probably having a significant impact on your hormones and your digestion, your relationship with food, if your schedule is overbooked and you're not taking any time for yourself. I think it's so important that we remember our bodies are temple. We would not be here if it wasn't for our body. We would not be able to get through any function in the day if our body didn't exist and function for us. I really believe, unfortunately, a lot of society takes their body for granted. And when our bodies don't work properly for us, or we gain weight, or we get a cold, or whatever that is, people get so pissed off at their bodies. And it's like, yeah, but if you're not taking the time to nurture your body and honor your body, what do you expect is going to happen? Could you drive your car for its whole lifetime and not take it in for an oil change? Like, some people take better care of their vehicles than they do of themselves, but yet you get upset when your body gives you symptoms and your symptoms get worse, right? And then it's like, oh, my body's an inconvenience. And it's like, no, your body is not an inconvenience. Your body's trying to communicate with you, but because you're so overbooked and you are so not aware of anything going on with yourself, you keep blaming on other circumstances and you keep blaming your body when it's actually not your body at all. It is the way you're setting your life up. And that may be a wake-up call. That may sound harsh. I always mean it with love. But I think we need a wake-up call, especially in North America. Too many people are sick, struggling, suffering, in dislike with their bodies, and in sabotage with food, alcohol, or other substances. And I think that needs to change. And I stand here to be a voice for that, because I'm very passionate about that. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. And I want to make a significant impact on the world, because it's time to change things. So if you are tired of being unaware, you're tired of being overbooked and feeling unwell, please do not accept these as your norm, because it's not normal. You deserve to have your optimal health. You deserve to have body freedom. You deserve to know what it feels like to love yourself. You deserve to know what it feels like to not have digestive bloating every time you eat. And you deserve to know what it feels like to have success long-term with your health goals and reaching them, and not needing to diet, restrict, punish, over-exercise, inject yourself with prescriptions and HCG and all this garbage that is not helping you to learn how to love yourself. Gotta make different changes and take a different approach. Because otherwise what happens is you stay in this headspace of like, well, nothing's ever going to work. I've tried everything. Nothing works. I'm just too busy. I don't have time. And the busyness, again, is a distraction that suppresses you from actually dealing with it all. But eventually it escalates and it has a significant impact on all areas of your life. Or maybe you're just accepting it's just always going to be this way and I may as well not bother. Well, until you've taken that deep level of, approach support where you really learn how to listen to your body, you deal with the hormones and digestion, you overcome emotional eating, you get the weight, roadblocks out of the way. If you really take that deep level of approach and you get no results, I would be shocked because I've never had anyone come to work with me and not have a profound changing result in most, if not all, areas of their lives. And I can say that confidently because I've witnessed it with hundreds of my clients. And, I had to go through it though first. And I'm always growing and learning because I just think that's so important to help, with the other people that I support. But I guarantee you, if you really showed up and took a different approach and did the work, you'd have a completely different outcome than you thought you would. And like I said, you don't have to diet, restrict, or do anything crazy to do so. It's about lifestyle changes, mindset changes, and going inside to do the inner work physically and emotionally. That changes everything. It's profound. I can do it. I witness my clients doing it. That is just so much proof that you can do it too. You're all worthy of having it. And that's the gift that I want to give to you guys for, this holiday season is you are so worthy to have joy and happiness and love and abundance and amazing relationships, an amazing family, amazing career, amazing business, be an amazing parent, a friend, family member, whatever that is. But to be your own best friend and finally make peace with food and freedom with your health and well-being, you deserve to have that no matter what anyone has ever told you and what you currently believe about yourself. I want to plant that seed with all of you today. And I send you all my love because I really want you to know that you deserve that. You just need to find your courage and take the steps toward creating it for yourself. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Oh, it felt so passionate. I feel in such flow with this. So thank you for listening, all of you. And thank you all of you who've subscribed, left reviews, ratings, shared the podcast. It means so much to me and I'm so grateful. And for you, those of you who have done the emotional eating quiz or you've reached out for a complimentary consultation, whether or not you're working with me, I'm just so grateful to have connected with you and to be in connection with all of you. So thank you so much. So the show notes for today's episode can be found at amberapproved.ca/podcast/215. Submit your questions, your feedback to info@amberapproved.ca. If it's a health history that you're wanting to share, I do ask the questions are no more than 150 words in length, as those health histories you usually need more support, and private coaching would probably be a better fit. I do want to hear from you guys though. I love getting your feedback because that helps me to create this podcast to be the best it can be for all of you. What do you love about the podcast? What do you not love? Again, I want to know because then I can shift and craft things while I add, again, my own personal touch and twist to it. So definitely reach out, info@amberapproved.ca. Reach out and book your 30-minute complimentary body freedom call. You can go to amberapproved.ca, click the link in the show notes. It's super easy to fill out the intake form right online and pick your time. Takes maybe, 10 or 15 minutes and then you're in and we can connect. So I definitely look forward to connecting with you. And again, if you're wondering if you're struggling with emotional eating, you can go to amberapproved.ca to take the emotional eating quiz. So as I always say, there's no better time than the present to take action on your health and your schedule. So take action now. Have a beautiful day, a great week, and I will be here again next Sunday to share the last podcast episode of 2019 before we enter into what is going to be, I'm sure, a very wonderful 2020 and a lot of really great podcast content coming for you. Again, it's with all the gratitude I have that you're here listening with me. Take care. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe, review, and rate this podcast and share it with your friends. You can find me at amberapproved.ca and follow me on Instagram and YouTube at Amber Romaniuk. Join me next Sunday for another brand new episode and another step toward body freedom.